Hi, hello, how are you? Good morning, happy Monday. I did not realize that I have not filmed since the first of the month. I ended my vlog then, and this whole time I thought that I was like, that I had already started this and was just waiting to make some progress, but I guess I haven't started it at all. So I do want to update you. I am still reading Dark Dawn. I don't know why. I just haven't been in a very big reading mood for the last couple of weeks. I don't know why, but I haven't. And this also is taking me a long time to get through. Like, that's just how the last two books have also been. So I just haven't made a ton of progress. I am 302 pages in. There's just over 500, I think, or just around 500. So over halfway there, but I just haven't been in a super big reading mood. I did read Frieren Beyond Journey's End Volume 2. I really enjoyed it. This one was really funny. I ended up rating it 4 stars. I feel like Skylar really got into my head about rating the first one 3 stars or just rating manga and comic books not higher than 3. So I ended up rating this one 4. It really made me laugh. We watched Frieren like non-stop for 2 or 3 weeks. So I definitely feel like I forgot some of the little bits in the beginning. There's a moment where Fern, the character in purple, you can't really see, they meet up with this guy, Stark, the redhead. He is an apprentice for Aizen, who is a warrior that Frieren traveled with like a decade ago. No, like 80 years before. And now she's taken him on kind of as an apprentice of her own, but they are going on a journey to the like demon realm to visit heaven, I think is their like interpretation of it, so that she can meet up with her old teacher Flamma. But Fern calls Stark Mr. Stark or Master Stark, and he kind of doesn't like it. They're around the same age, and he asks her like, can you please stop calling me Master Stark, we're the same age. And it like cuts to her going, okay Stark, get your ass over here. And I just thought that was really funny that like she's either super formal or super informal, but there was a lot of moments that really made me laugh. So I gave this 4 stars. And now I'm reading Dark Dawn, and I just have not been wanting to read. And when I am, I feel like I'm making such little progress. But it is really good, which is frustrating that it's good and I want to read it. I just don't have a ton of motivation. I'm feeling really frustrated with finishing work at 5, going to the gym from like 5 to 6:15 is when I'm getting home, showering, starting dinner at 7, cooking and eating between 7 and 8, editing between 8 and 9, and then reading between 9 and like 10:30. That just makes me feel like there's very little time for crocheting. I really want to get back into playing Stardew Valley. So I feel just like I don't have a lot of personal time, which sucks. I do have this Wednesday off, and I think I'm going to spend the whole day reading and crocheting. I downloaded the audiobook for Only a Monster by Vanessa Len. I have had this for at least a year now. I don't really remember why I bought it, and this is part of why I'm trying to read everything on my shelves, is so that whatever I buy next is what I'm going to read next, and I remember why I was interested in it and why I bought it, and don't lose my enthusiasm for it because it's so good. I'm 169 pages in. I started listening to the audiobook when I went to the gym yesterday, and when I was at the grocery store, and I was reading for like half an hour when I got home, and I'm just really enjoying it. It is about this girl, Joan. She is from a family of monsters. At least that's what they call themselves, and she always kind of thought that it was just like a fun thing or a weird thing that her family said about themselves, but she finds out that they are actually monsters. They are people who steal time off of humans' lives in order to time travel. So she steals a day from someone, she can travel a day in the future or in the past, I think. I don't know if they can travel into the future. Yeah, they can. So she can steal time from people. It takes a day off of that person's life though, so she accidentally does it to this old man, Mr. Salt, and her grandma tells her he will now die a day earlier than he originally would have. And she is horrified by that. She thinks that it's absolutely awful that her family is doing this. She doesn't want anything to do with them. She takes off, she goes to this museum that she's been working at, and she meets this boy Nick, who she was supposed to go on a date with the day before, but because she time traveled into the future, she missed it. So they're there, they share a very sweet kiss, and all of a sudden they hear a noise and all of these people are arriving, and she recognizes them as the Oliver family. The Oliver family has a feud with her family. She doesn't know why. She finds out it's because they're also monsters, but still doesn't understand the actual feud. But the Olivers are there, they capture her and Nick manages to escape and kill a bunch of them, and she finds out that he is a monster hunter. His family was murdered by monsters years ago, and he has made it his mission to kill as many of them as possible. He does tell her though, I will spare you. You made your first trip yesterday, and I truly believe it was an accident, but if I find out you ever kill or take time from another human, I will kill you. And that's so conflicting for her because she literally just made out with him and has feelings for him. He clearly has feelings for her, but he is very dead set on the fact that he will kill her. She tries to send a text message to her cousin. It does get through, and her whole family comes, and they also all die. From the Oliver family, there is a boy, Aaron, who kind of tries to save her when his family tries to kill her, and they are the only two remaining members of their families, and they travel into the future. This is only the second time she's ever done it. She's really struggling with it, but it's so good. This is such a unique magic system that I have not read about before, and it's only the first in this series. I don't think the other one is out yet, but I am really, really enjoying this, and might finish this before I finish Dark Dawn. I'm not 100% sure. It's already the 17th. Work has just been so stressful that by the end of the day, after I go to the gym, I just want to sit on the couch and do nothing. But I've been trying to catch up on editing, so that's what I've been focusing a lot of my time on. It just feels like there's not enough time to do all of the things that I want. And that's really getting me down. I'm also going to start my period in like 2 days, so I know that's a big part of why I'm feeling this way. And just trying to push through, keep a schedule, slot in time for the things that I want to do, and hopefully feel better next week. But I will update you when I have made more progress on either one of these books. I really hope I finish Dark Dawn this week and this. I might read the Freerin novels back to back just to get those out of the way, and then I can't remember. I think I have Nona next, which I have an audiobook for. That's great. And then I think I was also planning on reading Priory of the Orange Tree, and that might have to be pushed back again for like the 4th month, but we gotta do what we gotta do. So I will get back to work and I will update you later. Hello, happy Wednesday. It is Juneteenth, so I have off today and I have done nothing. It's been so nice. I was like thinking yesterday, I was like, oh, I'll go to Barnes & Noble, I'll go get lunch, I'm gonna go read at Starbucks. And then I was thinking this morning, I was like, I don't need to make every day off like a big deal, I guess. Like, just stay home. So I slept until 10 o'clock, which was really nice, and I've just been sitting on the couch watching TV. I'm working on a like floral tapestry. Let's see if I can smooth it out. So this is what it looks like. I have like 10 rows maybe left to do, and then I can add the like fringe for it. I have some dowel rods to like be able to hang it up. I want to make tapestries to like sell. I really enjoy doing them, so that's what I'm working on. I'm going to take a break from crocheting because my hands kind of hurt to edit and I wanted to update you on my reading because I finished Only a Monster yesterday. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. It might be a 5-star. I'm not sure, like, we'll see. Sometimes when I finish a book, I just know it's 5 stars, and sometimes, like, a couple days later, I literally can't stop thinking about a book and I will go back and rate it 5 stars. But I really enjoyed this. Our main character, I think I explained it a little bit. She finds out she's a monster. Monsters in this, like, realm or world steal time from people. They touch their necks and they can take a day, a month, a year, and then they can time travel that far into the future or into the past. And the boy that she likes turns out to be a monster hunter. He kills her entire family except for her cousin and this other family, the Olivers. One of the sons, Aaron, survives also. They go back into the past to get away from him, find out that Nick, the hunter, is there. He's able to travel. I don't know how, it's never explained. But they're in the past, not only to get away from him, but to see if they can change the timeline. There's like a rumor that previously their timeline had been changed, and so that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to figure out how they can bring back their families. They are able to do it in the end, but because they changed the timeline, it means that Joan and Aaron no longer know each other. So they go through this whole journey where you can so tell that he likes her, but it's like a almost not love triangle where she loves the hunter and also maybe has feelings for the monster. But it's said that things from the original timeline before their, like, monster king changed it to what it is now. Anything that may have happened then, it's like the timeline tries to fix itself. So in the original timeline, human boy fell in love with a monster girl, which, like, in this timeline is still Nick and Joan. And even though they're in, like, the alternate timeline, it's like it's trying to force them together. They are somehow fated, and they realize that, but the only way that Joan can reset it and save her family is to not kill him, but reset it to a time before he became a monster hunter. So I really enjoyed it. I read like 100 pages last night, finished it, and I knew that there was a second book, but I didn't know it was out already. It came out last year, so I'm gonna put that on my to buy list and hopefully get it in the next, like, month or two, because I don't want to forget and get too far and then not want to continue. But I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna hopefully finish Dark Dawn this week and then move on to Frieren 3 and then Nona. I have an audiobook for Nona, and I'm thinking I might scrap Priory of the Orange Tree and just spend the next couple of weeks reading books that I have audiobooks for. So I have like 3 or 4 books on my shelves that I know there are audiobooks for on Scribd, so I might just kind of knock those out and hope that listening to the audiobook makes it so that I get through them a lot quicker. I've been wanting to listen to audiobooks at the gym recently and when I'm grocery shopping, and because I'm feeling like crocheting so much more, it means I can do both. So I'm going to edit, and I will talk to you most likely when I finished Dark Dawn. Hello, happy Sunday. I have had a bit of a busy day. I went to the movies with my friend this morning. She lives like an hour away, so I drove out there to go to the movies with her, and we had lunch, and now I'm home. Skylar has gone to work, and I am just sitting on the couch. I am editing, but I wanted to update you on my reading. I finished Dark Dawn yesterday. I really enjoyed it. I just love Mia's character and the just storyline of her being so driven by vengeance and feeling like that is all she has in her life, to then come to the end and realize it was never just about vengeance for her family. It was about her family. So she finds out that her brother is still alive. She finds out that she's got this like hidden destiny. The piece of darkness inside of her is a piece of an old god, the god who was like the moon, and it's her destiny to reunite the pieces of this fallen god's soul so that the moon can return to the sky. So in their world, they are in daytime all the time. There are 3 suns that are constantly circling. It is light outside all the time. So when she is able to like reunite these pieces, the moon god Anais pokes out 2 of his father's eyes, 2 of the suns. So his father is just one single sun and he is the moon, and it restores balance to their world, and she dies. It says it like right in the first line of the first book that she dies, but the Dark Mother, which is like the goddess of night, brings her back, not fully as a human, not like a zombie or anything, but she does bring her back. And so her and Ashlyn, the girl that she's in love with, they get there happily ever after. I don't know though if they meet back up with her brother. I'm assuming that they do. Her brother has been taken under the wing of her old mentor Mercurio, and they are like in the beginnings of rebuilding the Red Church the way it was meant to be. All of the old ministry members have been slain. They really got corrupted over the years. They wanted just power and money, so they've all been killed. Mercurio is taking it over, and he is going to rebuild it from the ground up as true worshippers of Nye, the Lady of the Night. So I really enjoyed it. I don't know what it is about this writing style that I have a hard time with, or that just takes me a long time. Speaking of which, I tried to start Nona the Ninth today while I was driving to my friend's house because I do have an audiobook for that, but I need the book in front of me. I was listening to it, and like 5 minutes in I was like, I have no idea what just happened, and like without seeing the words, something about them, they just don't make sense to me. So I picked up Never a Hero by Vanessa Len, which is book 2 to Only a Monster, which I read last week and loved so much. And I'm already like 140 pages in. It was an hour up and an hour down. So I went to Barnes & Noble and I picked up Never a Hero so that I could read along with it and track how many pages I've read. Like I said, I'm editing right now and crocheting. I just finished this tapestry, which I think came out really cute. I'm still kind of learning. There are different types of ways that you can do tapestry. The way that I did it, you just kind of continue to carry the yarn, so you have however many strings. If you're not using them, you kind of crochet them into the pattern, but it makes it so that sometimes the colors bleed through. So I think I missed this one, and instead of putting it behind the yarn, I put it in the front, which unless you crochet doesn't make sense. But this isn't the best way, and you kind of waste a lot of yarn just kind of carrying it until you need it. You can do, which I tested just a little bit, this where you don't crochet it in, you just kind of drag it from end to end as you need it. There's a third way, I don't really know what it's called, but you just kind of leave the yarn where it is, and you have like multiple colors going at once. It's hard to explain, but I'm working on a tapestry that's A Court of Thorns and Roses related. It's Valaris. I'll like put a little picture up here. This is what I'm crocheting. I'm doing dark blue for the background and white for the words. It's going to be kind of large. It's going to be about 2 feet long, just under 2 feet long, and it's going to take me a while, but I'm just enjoying doing tapestry right now. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm not going to go to the gym today. I just wanted a day. I just wanted to not go. We have weights here, so I'm still going to do like my little workout, but like being at the gym for an hour is fine, but then I also have to drive 15 minutes there, drive 15 minutes back. I get really sweaty and I have to take a shower afterwards, so it takes up like almost 2 hours of my time. and I just didn't feel like sacrificing that time. So I'm gonna stay home and I'm gonna edit and I'm gonna read, and maybe, I don't think I'll finish Never a Hero today, but I think I will get a good chunk in. And if I can finish this and Nona, I'm definitely not finishing Priory of the Orange Tree this month, and I might just stop trying to put that on my TBR until I really feel like reading it. But we're off to, Sunday is typically the start of my week, so that's why I'm feeling like I'm saying I'm off to a good start of the week. But I will update you when I have made progress on Never a Hero. Good morning, happy Wednesday. It is already hot. It's like 9 o'clock, it's 8:48, and it's already warm in this back room. I have like a tiny fan going behind me, and I basically just entered that time of year where like the curtains are right here. I keep the curtains closed all day in the hopes that this room will stay cool for as long as possible. I have a window unit over here, and I try not to turn it on until like 3, because I just don't want our electric bill to get really high. And because Skylar is on a night schedule now, he sleeps until 2:30, so the air in our bedroom is on until that time. So it's like the second that he wakes up, I'm like, okay, I can switch this on now so that only one is running at a time. And then I've been trying not to turn on the one in the living room until like I absolutely have to, if I'm super uncomfortable, or I just pull the fan in there closer to me. But summer is not my favorite because of this, just feeling uncomfortable all the time because we don't have central AC. Like if we did, then I could just turn the air on and cool down the whole apartment. But we have window units, and so I feel like to not have $100 bill, I already got like a projection that our bill for this month is going to be $89, which is fine. That's not the worst that it could be, but I just know July and August and September are going to be so hot, and we are definitely going to break 100 for that bill. But I wanted to update you because I finished Never a Hero yesterday. I have really enjoyed this series. This like monsters versus heroes world has been so great. Reading Dark Dawn after being so heavily into the SJM universe was hard, and I have just wanted fantasy like that, and I feel like I really got it from this. So in this book, Joan and Nick meet again. There is like this theory that in the original timeline, if two people were soulmates, and they call it the Gendelise, something like that. I probably pronounced that awfully. But the true timeline, if you are soulmates in the true timeline, then the timeline will always try to push you together in other alternate timelines, and that's what it's doing. It pushed them together in the Monster King's timeline, and it pushed them together in the timeline that Joan had created. And Joan is being hunted. Somebody wants to find her. We do find out who it is, and I'm trying not to like spoil it. It's this girl that it turns out she wants to change the timeline again and become queen, essentially. She's the one who created Nick and turned him into the hero by murdering his family in front of him over and over and over again. There was just so much revealed about Joan finally, and who like she really is, and what her powers come from. I just loved it so much, and I love this kind of love triangle where like Nick is the hero, he's the golden boy, and Aaron is the monster, but he's like, he is who he is because of the family who grew up in, but he still has really soft, sweet parts. And honestly, I would rather Joan end up with Aaron. I always do. That's like the guy that you think you can change, right? That's who I want her to end up with. I just feel like he sees her differently than Nick does, because Aaron is also a monster. He can accept that she's human and that she's a monster. Nick can only accept that she's human. Her being a monster, he has a really hard time with. So I'm team Aaron. I thought that this was going to be the end, but I got to the end. We're in this like new timeline now that Eleanor, this new character, the antagonist, has created. She has killed the old king. She used Nick to do it. And now they are in her timeline where she is queen. And they're setting out to find her. So this came out in August of last year. So I don't think we're going to get a book this year, potentially next year, but probably, I'm guessing, not until the end. I did follow the author on Instagram so that I could hopefully get updates, but I don't see like any whisper of a talk of a third book. But I will immediately snatch it up, and this was so good. And again, kicking myself for letting Only a Monster sit on my side table in my like TBR cart for at least a year. But this was really good. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I went back and I gave Only a Monster 5 out of 5 stars also, because I just can't stop thinking about this world. It's so good. Monsters stealing time from humans to time travel, the like lore of the 12 families, all of the like hidden things that make up the world just really fascinate me. I really love good lore. So now that I finished that, tonight I'm going to read Frieren Beyond Journey's End, volume 3. I think I've mentioned this, the first 7 books already have episodes in the animated series. Skylar and I watch them on Crunchyroll, so I'm just taking time in between like each book that I read to read one of these. I really want to just read all of them and get to books 8, 9, and I think I have 10. Yeah. Or it's 7, 8, and 9, I'm not sure. I have at least 3 though that are past what has already been published for the animated series, and Skylar wants to really read those too, but I'm on book 3. I'm trying to take my time and not like rush through them, and they do help with my reading goal, which is great. So I'm going to read this next, and I will update you tomorrow when I have finished that. Hello, happy Monday. I think the last time I updated you guys was like last Wednesday, which was when I finished Never a Hero. I really thought that I was going to read a lot of Nona. I am only 89 pages in. I just was not ready to read this after reading Never a Hero and just experiencing those really, really classic YA vibes. This is super different. This is new adult science fiction. It's just the complete opposite of what I was reading, and I wasn't ready to start reading it until Saturday. So Saturday I sat down and I was crocheting, and I started this, and I'm really enjoying it. I fully thought that I was going to read more on Sunday. Didn't. Skylar stayed home from work because we really didn't get to see each other this like week, which I really appreciate when he does that. So we ended up going to the movies. We saw Bike Riders, which was really good. I love Tom Hardy. I think he's such a great actor. Austin Butler was in it. I thought he did a good job. It was really great, but the movie started at 6:45 and we got home at like 9:30, and I made dinner really quickly. We watched 2 episodes of The Bear and I went to sleep. So I didn't do any reading. So this is going to be the first book that I read for July. I am, like I said, enjoying it. In this, my kind of theory on it is that Gideon is in Harrow Hark's body, but she doesn't remember herself, or it's like a combination of Gideon and Harrow. I know that Gideon is there because of her eye color. That's like a thing with the lictors, that when you take over your cavalier's soul, you have their eyes. And based on the end of the last book, Harrow is like locked away in a place in her mind where she had originally locked up Gideon, and then when she gets injured, in the end of Harrow the Ninth, Gideon is the one that comes forward now that Harrow is kind of like pushed off to the side. But something happens, I can't really remember, at the end of the book, and now we are with Cam, Palamedes, and Pyrrha in almost like a future world that seems very different from what we've been experiencing because they've been in space. They are kind of like in a modern world, and Nona is who she's going by, has no idea who she is, where she came from, no idea that she's potentially a lictor, and everybody else, they're like studying her to see if she remembers who she is or remembers that she's a lictor, anything. And she is like a child. She comes back to life, or comes to, and can't even move her body. She can't speak, she can't feed herself, nothing. So Cam, Palamedes, and Pyrrha are having to take care of her as if she was an infant. She's made friends with literal children. I think the oldest one of them is 14, and it's just very different from the last two books. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this is going. I am going to try and finish it this week. I have been crocheting a bit, so I'm redoing the granny squares that I did for my like book cover blanket that I've been working on. I had made some of the squares, and so like this is the one that I made for Aurora's End, and I've made a bunch of them. They keep coming out in different sizes, and even though they're all the same pattern, it just doesn't feel cohesive, and I don't like the idea of how the blanket is going to look this way. So I changed it. G from Book Roast is doing basically the same thing. She's using this pattern, and I really like this pattern, and I didn't want to copy what somebody else was already doing, but I feel like even if this is in multiple colors, it will still look cohesive because the pattern is bold enough. So this is for Aurora's End, which is the first book that I read, so I'm having to start completely over, but this is for Aurora's End. This one is for Harrow the Ninth, and this one is for Scythe. So that's 3 out of 32. I have an audiobook for Nona, and if I listen to it slow enough and like really pay attention, I can listen to the audiobook and crochet at the same time. So hopefully I can make good like headway on that. I also did read Freer, and I forgot to mention that. The fourth one, I'm really enjoying these. I think I mentioned Skylar got them for me. They're based off of, well, there's a animation on Crunchyroll that is based off of this series. We saw the animation first, and now I'm slowly reading these. So this is the fourth one. They have picked up a priest. They are journeying to the demon realm, and it's just like an adventure series. I'm not going to talk too much about it. I gave it a 3 stars. I enjoyed it. It takes a lot for me to rate a graphic novel higher than that. I think I rated comic 2 4 stars because it was so funny. There were just so many moments that really got me. So that one was 4 stars. But I did finish this, which was technically I think my 5th book of the month. But it was a graphic novel. So it is July. I don't think that I have mentioned that. And outside of Nona, I have not picked what else to read for this month. And I really don't have a preference. So what I think I'm going to do is I uploaded all of the books that I have left on my bookshelf on this like wheel spin website, and I'm just going to spin for the next 4 books that I'm planning to read, and that's what will go on my TBR. So for the first one, let's see what gets picked. Skin of the Sea. That's one that I got in a Fae Crate box a really long time ago, and I just haven't read it, so I will get that off of my shelf. Alright, next. Jade Fire Gold. Another one that was a Fae Crate box, and I actually have them sitting next to each other on my shelf, but I got it in a subscription box. Hadn't had any real interest in it, but I guess I'll be reading it this month. So that's 2 plus Nona, so this is the 4th book. Okay, Murder Your Employer. I just bought this one and it looks really interesting, and I am super excited to read it. And this is the point of doing this, is that it's a mix of books that I just bought and books that I've had for a while. and I was hoping I would get like a good mix of the two of them. So one more. Summer of Broken Rules. That's a romance. I bought it impulsively. I think it was like on the $5 or like the buy one get one half off table, and I had already selected something from there and didn't have any interest in anything else, so I picked it. So a romance for July. They're not my favorite. I feel like they're kind of predictable, but we shall see. Maybe this will open up a new avenue of books that I want to read. So I might continue doing that. It's kind of fun. But I will update you when I have made some progress with Nona.